This Marvel Snap season has just started, and many players who are in Series 3 are looking for a deck that can compete alongside the new Battle Pass cards and alongside the new nerfs and climb their way to Infinite quickly and effectively. And today, boy howdy, do I have the deck for you. We're going to take a look today at a list from Freddybabes. If you're not familiar with Freddy, they are a well-known, established Gwent streamer who is now taking part in Marvel Snap streams as well and breaking into that sphere of content, doing a great job at doing so over on YouTube as well. So I highly recommend you checking out their list and their content if you haven't done so already. However, they tweeted out just a little while ago that they had finished their climb to Infinite this season already with a spicy brew. And I do love me a spicy brew. This is Freddy's mid-range list here, which is kind of a good card shell with some very interesting choices I'm looking forward to breaking down for you. This take on the good cards archetype looks to abuse a few small engines to provide you with not only more synergy over the course of a game, but being a great value deck that can answer your opponent's threats through Cosmo and Shang-Chi. You're going to be looking to abuse Colleen Wing and Swarm and the combination of Miles and Vulture for crazy power swings late in the game, and Arrow should help you seal the deal. Freddy was nice enough to provide some tips on this deck for players who are looking to use it for the first time. Priority is insanely important when using Cosmo, Shang-Chi and Arrow, so plan ahead for a few turns to position yourself to use those cards effectively. You're going to be looking to play Swarm and or Miles Morales with Arrow on turn 6 to easily steal games away from opponents who think they've got it covered. Polaris, Iron Fist and Arrow all set up Miles Morales, so play to that effect accordingly. You want to try not to use Iron Fist if you can help it, separate to Vulture, unless you really need to get into a location last minute, and the same can be said about your Colleen Wing alongside your copy of Swarm. Maximus can be played on turn 3 or 4 to help with gaining priority and make sure your subsequent plays of Shang-Chi or Arrow line up the way you want them to. Freddy also suggests some fantastic card replacements if you happen to be missing a few cards from this shell. Sunspot could be a really good card if you prefer, and you can kind of run it instead of Killmonger, because Killmonger, of course, is a bit of an anti-synergy there with Sunspot, but Killmonger got the nod for the Thanos matchups they were facing. Polaris could be replaced by Juggernaut to provide you with a very similar effect on a 3-cost card, but definitely found that Polaris was far more consistent and overperforming overall. Enchantress can also be a card you can consider playing here as another card to answer your opponent's threats. And if you're looking for a replacement for Maximus, you can consider playing a card like Mr. Fantastic, even though it is definitely inferior overall. Last but not least, they want to explore Vision in this deck moving forward once again, and recommends trying it instead of things like Maximus, Lizard or Killmonger if you want to see if Vision can fit into the shell for you. I'm very impressed by what I see with this deck, and I'm really looking forward to getting my teeth stuck into it for a handful of games. So if you haven't already, please do make sure you subscribe to the channel here at Marvel Snap Zone so you don't miss out on our daily content as we keep pumping it out over here on YouTube, and I'm going to head on over into the Marvel Snap ladder and see what this deck is all about. I am super curious about this one. This is not really a combination of cards
from the Daily Bugle
that I have seen before in Marvel Snap. Turns out Ebony Maw, not the best thing to be gifted in your Killmonger deck, but we might be able to work around that. I think if we know our opponent is playing Ebony Maw, it's probably best for us to not play ours and Killmonger theirs away. That being said, pretty happy here to get a couple copies of Lizard into a few different locations. Definitely kind of a little bit scared of filling up too much space in this deck if we're looking to be able to move stuff around, looking to be able to play multiple copies of Swarm later. It's definitely going to try and keep my eyes open. This armor does change the narrative a bit, because now we can't necessarily clear our opponent's Ebony anymore. The question is if we use ours while we have the ability to, or whether we are just better off playing stuff. Now this is kind of interesting because if I Polaris, I will pull both of these armors out. And I think that's actually genuinely a very good play. So let's make that. Let's Polaris, make more Polarises, pull all the armors over. There's a chance here that we now don't win bar Sinister, depending on what our opponent wants to play into the location. But I think this is pretty good all around. It makes playing into Sinister London particularly awkward for them. Obviously, we now get multiple cheap Miles Morales as well. And I think I'm on board just to... Opponent's hand is like super full. I think I'm just going to be making multiple copies of Maximus here. Just looking for a big stat swing and throwing stats all over the place. So let's see how that goes. Vulture not really coming up this game, but I think that's kind of the beauty of it, right? Is you can do a bit of everything. Opponent with the She-Hulk. So we're looking for the Shang-Chi. The Shang-Chi would be the magical Christmas scenario. Arrow's pretty good. I think we're likely just going to Arrow out of Daily Bugle. So out of Sinister London, sorry. And keep a space there for us and prevent our opponent from playing into it this turn. Seems pretty good. Arrow will pull this over. No doubles for you. Taskmaster is pretty good, though. Iron Fist. So I'm a little worried about space here, unfortunately. Opponent's got plenty of big goodies. So I think we're just on Colleen, right? This is the best we can do stat-wise. Killmonger's no good to me. No space for Vulture. I think this is where we are. Is 21 mid good enough is probably the question here. I think we're pretty likely to lose Daily Bugle a lot of the time, but 21 mid can win this game a reasonable amount of the time, so I don't mind setting a cube on fire if we're wrong here. Opponent's definitely thinking about it. They do have 1,000,001 options over there. Their hand is very full. They do indeed go for it. They will Shuri into a very large lizard, which we beat, correct? Yeah, because the Shuri itself doesn't win left. Colleen Wing has enough stats to do that. Victory. Cool game, honestly. Polaris there looking very sweet, pulling some armors over. Miles doing what Miles does. There's the London kind of doing good work for both players. And Arrow keeping us safe from the double Taskmaster. Really sweet one. Opening hand's a bit clunky here, unfortunately. Plunder Castle is a location we can get into if we try hard enough, but opening hand not really providing us with any early plays. Sunspot for the opponent. We gain a Tinkerer's Workshop. Okay. I don't really like running out Maximus just like super ahead of time, so I think I would prefer to Cosmo into Maximus here. The question is if I want the Cosmo to be at risk or whether I just want to put it in mid. I think for the most part it's going mid. Opponent will Zabu us. Okay, so plenty of acceleration up for grabs for the opponent here. We gain a Lizard. Pretty sure we're just going to Maximus here. Set the body up. Try and set ourselves up for a decent turn 6. So Vulture here is nice, but we have no way of moving it yet. So I think we're just... Opponent snaps. I think we can afford to stick around at the moment. We've got a lot of toys to do some things here. Opponent will Shuri. Gain Polaris. So I guess I have to Aero Kunlun. Because if I don't, I can't Shang-Chi the thing that gets buffed. So I have to do this. And then opponent has reveal priority, so we go Shang-Chi Miles Morales. And this should be good. Yeah, we don't care about She-Hulk. It's fine. Perfect. I mean, that's exactly how you draw that up. Reactive cards coming to your aid. Victory. Arrowing the thing you need to Shang-Chi away from your own Cosmo. Sweet. Very, very cool. You know they are playing MODOK Discard. So let's see how we do in the face of MODOK-y goodness. Lamentis 1. I don't know if that's good for us. They do have the Morbius. So now we're looking to go Iron Fist Colleen. Turn on the Miles Morales, make our swarms. Boot this over. Opponent Colleen's 2, they also found the swarm. Okay, so we just play the Miles. Sadly, there's no real juke for MODOK here, really. Opponent just firing the Lockjaw as a body because it has no targets is quite funny and makes a lot of sense. They have 3 cards in hand. I know 2 of them are swarms. I know 2 of them are swarms. So if I just go Shang-Chi as a body. Opponent plays the Dracula out because it won't get so I know the 2 cards in hand are both swarms, right? So if I go Swarm, Swarm, Arrow, I can't lose. I believe that's correct. They're not both swarms? No, they're not both swarms. You've played the swarms. There's a Hella. We're all good. We're okay. I screwed up the numbers because the swarms were in play, and I don't know why I thought to myself they were still in their hand. But we're good. That's okay. We made the correct play, even if I had realized that it wasn't swarms in the hand, because we arrow into Jotunheim always anyway. Really sweet game, actually. Got to see a fair bit of Iron Fist and Colleen Wing going to work there. Swarm Colleen? Don't mind if I do. We even get the extra energy early. Very nice. Opponent has the Zabu on turn 1. Always kind of scary, but thankfully no 4-cost cards coming down on turn 2 very easily. So looking for the Iron Fist here, right? Iron Fist is the real haymaker if we can find it to turn on this Vulture and turn on the Miles Morales. If we can't find Iron Fist, we should be on board with opening up something like Polaris to move the Zabu around. A few good draws here. Opponent will Lizard too. Excuse me. Monster Isle. Well, that gives us a Shang-Chi target if we find that. We do find Polaris. Okay. So I'm on board to Polaris here. Just shuffle a 2 somewhere else. Opponent will rescue into Mojo World. So we do pull the Lizard, which is fine, honestly. Okay, so now I have to choose whether I Shang-Chi now or later. And I feel like I probably Shang-Chi later. Because I might just Shang-Chi the rescue. Interesting. So if I play the Vulture out, I have no way of moving it anymore. So I think I just do this. Opponent does grow their rescue with a bishop, sure. So drawing the Iron Fist will be a bit sad. We draw Arrow. Arrow could be pretty good here, actually. Snap. I think we're looking pretty powerful. Arrow's a heck of a card. Arrow does some things that no other card in Marvel Snap does. It is quite the all-star. If opponent does play into Mojo World, we'll shift their thing over with Arrow. It is a Serra. Okay, well, we know we can win Mojo World. We just got to make sure that we win another location here too. And I think realistically... Wait, so we win Mojo World or we win Monster Isle for certain because of the Shang-Chi. The question is, how do we best win another location? Because this is... So this is always happening. The question is, where does the Shang go? And where does the other Swarm go? And I think it goes like this. Definitely some consideration there. Couple different options to navigate that, but I think securing the win in Mojo World on tiebreakers alone is worth more than taking the monster out in Monster Isle, and reducing Lizard's power is probably worth enough to play there. Excuse me. Definitely a close one though. Opponent will Enchantress. We don't mind that. We beat the Enchantress. I panicked for a second there. I was like, do I have anything getting Killmongered? But we're all good. So we don't win Monster Isle, but we do win the other two locations here. So that was actually super back and forth. Victory. The Nova wins Monster Isle for my opponent with the Enchantress on their Lizard, which is very, very cool. But Shang-Chi here guaranteeing mid, and thankfully for us, the real Mysterio being mid means we still win the other two locations. Real close game. Lots to think about there. Nice 4 cubes. And it feels really solid, and it's very cool to see this pool 3 only deck kind of go into work, honestly. So highly recommend trying this one right now. We find the Swarm. So we're going to Lizard here so that we don't discard the Lizard to our Colleen Wing. Final Yondu eats our Iron Fist, so unfortunately the fist is down. No movie shenanigans this time around. Killmonger is definitely going to clear both of these. Part of me wants to just fire the Cosmo to try and stop my opponent from clearing both of these with a Carnage. I think I'm about that noise. Perfect. We gain a Wasp, they gain a Beast. Neither of those is great for either player, so no harm, no foul. We'll just Colleen the Swarm here, set ourselves up for this final turn burst. Turning off the Carnage there was pretty PogChamp. Opponent does unfortunately have their own Killmonger, so they have indeed cleared the way either way. The beauty, however, is they demoned, and we still have our own Killmonger. So we're going to do that, because that seems potentially quite good. Should have played around Wave, I think, but thankfully I think we're good anyway because we have reveal priority. So I think Arrow just wins this off the back of being batshit insane. We definitely should have played these Swarms to play around Wave. We knew Wave was very likely a card coming from our opponent, but I think it doesn't end up mattering here. Hopefully, opponent could definitely punish if they can somehow play enough things, but I think just arrowing everything away from the locations we're winning is probably going to do the trick the majority of the time. So Let us see. Boom. Death plus Shang-Chi is indeed no good. Perfect.
Victory.
Exactly what you're looking to do with this deck on your fair games. Got a little punish for not playing the Swarms. Definitely should have had more stats around. But this is good. This is definitely good. I think this deck is great. I really do. I think Freddy's done a fantastic job building this and understands just fundamentally a lot of what Marvel Snap is about right now. And it's really cool to see a more unique take on this good cards deck kind of succeeding for people that are looking to play something like this on their climb up to Infinite. So, big recommend. If you haven't checked out Freddy, as I said in the intro, please consider doing so. The guy's making some great content and is a lovely dude. I've met him in person. I can attest to that. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Exportable deck list will be available for you in the description box down below. If you haven't subscribed for me already, please consider doing so to the channel here at Marvel Snap Zone. I would love to see you for more content once again in the near future. But until next time, I have been HowlingMines, you've been amazing, and this has been Marvel Snap Zone. Take care. Have a good one.